On March 27, 2026, at a White House ceremony called the Great American Agriculture Celebration, EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin stood before a crowd of farmers and truckers and made an announcement that should have been front-page news in every publication in America. He said the Trump administration was eliminating a diesel exhaust fluid sensor requirement that had been stranding trucks and farm equipment across the country for the better part of 15 years. He said the savings to American farmers, truckers, and equipment operators would exceed $13 billion annually. $13 billion. Every single year. Those costs came from repair bills and lost productivity, from a sensor failure rate so high that the Engine Manufacturers Association publicly called it one of the highest failure rate components in modern diesel emission systems. The EPA called the failures unacceptable, and the derates needless. The EPA called the economic hardship real. That same EPA mandated every diesel truck on American roads to run these systems starting in 2010. And nobody talked about it. Today we are going to lay out the full story of how the EPA built an emission system into your diesel truck that has been quietly draining your wallet for 15 years. We will explain what the federal government has now officially admitted what the Department of Justice decided to do about it in January 2026, and what the next regulation cycle starting in 2027 has in store for every diesel engine still running. This is the story the manufacturer dealerships, the mainstream automotive press, and the regulatory agencies never told you in a straight line. Part 1. How we got here. In December 2000, the EPA finalized what it called the most significant mobile source initiative since Congress adopted the 1970 Clean Air Act amendments. The rule established stringent emissions standards for heavy-duty diesel trucks and buses, and they took effect in 2 phases. Beginning with the 2007 model year, 100% of on-road diesel engines were required to run a diesel particulate filter. Beginning with the 2010 model year, 100% of on-road diesel engines were required to run NOx exhaust control technology. The EPA's own cost estimates at the time of the rule projected the standards would add $1,200 to $1,900 per new vehicle in additional hardware cost. Every truck buyer who purchased a diesel after 2010 paid that premium. Every truck buyer who purchased a diesel after 2010 also became a customer for the service industry that grew up around maintaining, cleaning, and replacing the DPF, EGR, SCR, and DEF systems the EPA mandated. A 2024 government fleet publication reviewed the 15-year track record of the 2010 emissions transition. It quoted directly from an industry study conclusion. The EPA also failed to accurately analyze and project higher truck operating costs, reduce truck reliability, and lower truck fuel economy performance. Consequently, the mandates of the EPA resulted in significant and costly marketplace disruptions and reduced regulatory benefits. That is not a critique from a lobby group. That is a documented post-implementation analysis of what the 2010 mandate actually cost the operators who were required to live with it. Part 2. What these systems actually do to your truck. The exhaust gas recirculation system routes a portion of exhaust gas back through the engine intake to lower combustion temperatures and reduce nitrogen oxide output. Those exhaust gases are not clean. They carry soot, carbon particulate, and unburned hydrocarbons directly into the intake manifold, onto the intake valves, and into the cylinders. Over tens of thousands of miles, that carbon coating restricts airflow, reduces power output, increases operating temperatures, and accelerates wear on valve train components. When the EGR cooler fails, a documented failure mode on the 6.7 Power Stroke, the 6.6 Duramax, and the 6.7 Cummins platforms, coolant passes from the cooler into the combustion chamber. That is not a minor failure. That is a catastrophic event, requiring a full engine teardown in severe cases. An original equipment manufacturer, EGR cooler replacement on a diesel pickup runs between $800 and $1,500. On platforms where the cooler fails every 50,000 to 80,000 miles, that is a recurring mandatory cost for complying with a federal regulation. The diesel particulate filter traps soot particles from the exhaust stream and stores them. The filter is literally catching the particulate matter before it leaves the tailpipe. Periodically, the truck's engine management system initiates a regeneration cycle that injects excess fuel into the exhaust at extreme temperatures to burn the accumulated soot. Every active regeneration cycle reduces fuel economy by an estimated 20% for the duration of the cycle. On a truck driving 20,000 miles per year, that fuel loss amounts to $800 to $1,200 in additional fuel cost annually. Not a one-time cost. A recurring annual operating cost baked into every diesel engine built since 2007. Trucks that operate in stop-and-go traffic, short trips, or at sustained low RPM generate more frequent passive regeneration failures. When the filter becomes too clogged for a standard regeneration to clear it, the dealer replacement cost runs between $2,000 and $5,500 depending on the platform. That replacement is on top of the annual fuel cost. It is on top of EGR maintenance. It is on top of DEF fluid the truck consumes. Every piece of this system costs money. Every year you own the truck. The selective catalytic reduction system injects diesel exhaust fluid into the exhaust stream to convert remaining nitrogen oxide into nitrogen and water vapor. Diesel exhaust fluid, also known as DF, is a urea solution that must be refilled approximately every 5,000 to 10,000 miles. The DEF system runs its own network of sensors, pumps, injectors, heaters, and quality monitors. Any of them can fail. When a sensor sends an inaccurate reading to the engine control module, the system initiates an inducement, also called a derate. Under the derate schedule as originally designed by the EPA, the final inducement stage limits the truck to 5 miles per hour in some configurations and 25 miles per hour in others until the fault is resolved at a service center. A fully operational truck with a full tank of diesel and a full DEF reservoir limited to 5 or 25 miles per hour because a sensor that costs less than $100 told the computer something was wrong. Farmers stranded mid-harvest. Owner-operators pulled off the highway mid-delivery. Construction equipment locked out on job sites. This is not a rare scenario. The Engine Manufacturers Association told the EPA directly that urea quality sensors are now among the highest failure rate components in modern selective catalytic reduction systems. That statement came from the industry body representing the companies that build these engines. They told the government that the mandated component is among the most frequently failing parts in the system the government required. Part 3. What happened starting last year? In August 2025, EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin traveled to the Iowa State Fair and announced new guidance directing diesel engine and equipment manufacturers to revise their DEF system software to reduce and prevent derates caused by sensor inaccuracies. The agency said that prior to EPA's August 2025 guidance, when DEF ran out or there was an unexpected mechanical failure, systems forced a vehicle to drastically reduce speed or become inoperable. In many cases, vehicles were limited to as little as 5 miles per hour within hours of a DEF-related fault. Although this derate strategy was intended to ensure compliance, it has caused needless frustration, operational delays, and real economic hardship for countless farmers, truckers, and equipment operators. The EPA called its own derate mandate needless, 15 years after mandating it. On February 3, 2026, the EPA issued a mandatory data collection request under Section 208 of the Clean Air Act to the 14 largest diesel engine manufacturers in America, representing over 80% of the diesel market. The agency demanded internal warranty claim data and engine failure rates on DEF system components, including sensor performance and replacement histories. The EPA's stated reason was to independently evaluate ongoing system failures. The agency wanted to know how bad the failure rate actually was, directly from the manufacturer's own warranty records. In less than 1 month, 11 of the 14 manufacturers responded with data the EPA described as preliminary findings, identifying DEF sensor failures as a significant source of warranty claims. The EPA's own February review confirmed what truck operators had been reporting for years. The sensors were failing at rates that had no business being in a mandated safety system. On March 27, 2026, the EPA acted on those findings. The agency issued guidance removing the urea quality sensor requirement entirely for all diesel equipment, directing manufacturers to switch to NOx sensors that measure actual exhaust output rather than inferring it from fluid quality readings. The projected savings from removing this single component, $13 billion annually in repairs and lost productivity. The EPA press release stated, "Farmers and truck drivers should not have their vehicles stop working because a sensor is not working properly." 15 years after mandating the sensor, $13 billion a year later. On January 21, 2026, 6 weeks before the EPA's mandatory data request, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche issued a formal directive to federal prosecutors instructing them to stop pursuing criminal cases against individuals who sell, distribute, manufacture, or install defeat devices on diesel trucks. The criminal enforcement of emissions delete prosecutions was suspended by the Department of Justice. Not because delete kits became legal. The Clean Air Act has not been amended. EPA fines of up to $45,000 per violation remain on the books. But the administration explicitly told federal prosecutors to stop treating the mechanics, shop owners, and truckers who remove failing government-mandated hardware as criminal defendants. Part 4. What is coming in 2027? If you think the system becomes simpler going forward, the regulatory record says otherwise. In December 2022, the EPA finalized what it calls the Clean Trucks Plan, establishing new NOx emission standards for heavy-duty diesel engines beginning with the 2027 model year. The new standard reduces the NOx limit from the current 0.2 grams per brake horsepower hour to 0.035 grams per brake horsepower hour. That is an 82.5% reduction on top of the already stringent 2010 standard. Industry analysts and fleet managers have been projecting that meeting this standard will require more complex after-treatment systems, additional SCR stages, a new motor oil formulation, and potentially a different DEF chemistry than is currently in use. Government Fleet magazine stated directly in April 2024 that in 2027 and after, diesel chassis will be more expensive, more technologically complicated, perhaps less reliable, require a new motor oil formula, and may even require a different formulation of DEF than is in use today. The 2010 system is already costing $13 billion a year in documented failures. The 2027 system will be more complex than the 2010 system. That trajectory should concern every diesel truck owner who is planning a purchase in the next 2 years. The industry response is already visible. Fleets and owner-operators have been pre-buying 2025 and 2026 model year trucks specifically to avoid operating under the 2027 standard. Part 5. What smart diesel owners are doing right now. They are requesting the DEF software update called for in the EPA guidance from August 2025. This update is available at no cost for model year 2026 and older trucks. It is designed to reduce or eliminate derate events caused by sensor inaccuracies while manufacturers transition to NOx-based monitoring. Contact your truck's manufacturer directly to confirm whether the update is available for your specific engine platform and model year. It does not require a dealer visit in all cases. Some manufacturers are making it available through authorized service centers at no charge under the EPA guidance. They are documenting every emission system repair on any truck still within a valid powertrain warranty. EPA Administrator Zeldin stated publicly that the agency is pursuing rulemaking to permanently eliminate DEF deratements for new vehicles. If that rulemaking proceeds and includes provisions for existing vehicle fleet repairs, documented repair history positions owners to participate in any remediation the manufacturers are required to provide. Keep every invoice. Keep every repair order. Keep every diagnostic report. That paper trail has real value in a regulatory environment that is moving this quickly. They are also making purchase decisions based on the 2027 threshold. A diesel truck purchased in the 2025 or 2026 model year is subject to the current emissions regime, whatever its frustrations. A diesel truck purchased in the 2027 model year will be subject to an 82.5% stricter standard on hardware that is still being engineered. Professional fleet managers are pre-buying now to defer contact with that unknown system for as long as operationally possible. The same logic applies to the private truck buyer. and the owners who have had enough of the emission system entirely are operating in a legal environment that is more permissive than at any point since 2010. The DOJ January 2026 directive does not make deletes legal, but it removed the criminal prosecution risk from the equation for the first time. Civil fines from the EPA under the Clean Air Act remain possible. State inspection failures remain possible in states with active opacity testing. The individual risk calculation for every diesel owner changed materially on January 21, 2026. The EPA mandated a system in 2010 that 15 years of real-world operation proved costs the American diesel fleet $13 billion a year in documented failures. The EPA called the results needless frustration, operational delays, and real economic hardship. Those are the EPA's own words. Not from a trucking lobby, not from a manufacturer, from the agency that mandated the system. The same agency that is now removing one of its core components and calling that removal the single largest savings in diesel operating costs in a generation. You might think this is a story about politics. It is not. It is a story about a system that was mandated without an accurate analysis of what it would cost the people required to run it. That analysis was done by the real world over 15 years. The bill was 37 pages of EPA press releases and $13 billion a year. Have you been hit by a DEF derate, an EGR cooler failure, or a DPF replacement on a truck you had every reason to expect would just run? Sound off in the comments below. Your experience is the data the EPA was looking for when it sent that mandatory data request on February 3, 2026. Your repair invoice is the evidence. If you refuse to keep paying for a system the federal government now admits should never have worked this way, hit the subscribe button and join the resistance. Keep the old iron running, keep turning your own wrenches, and we will see you in the next one.